Good evening, everyone. I'm Ellen Sutter of ESP Presents and ESP Book Chats, where we bring page turners your way. Tonight, our guest is Caroline or Kellen Omoifo. I'm sorry, I just tore your name up. We brought her back, and it's Caroline Omoifo. And here's her book, Saving Bekayah. And you guys are seeing something right now that's very interesting. We've been talking about this book. It's been a 10-year book. And tonight we're just going to get right into it. Tell us about yourself, Carolyn, and what would you want your readers to know about this story?
Saving Bekayah has been a very intense book to write. It was intense to write because I was so passionate about the subject matter, knowing that about 200 million women out there have undergone female circumcision. So I just needed to bring this out in the open. I know other people there's so many books that have been written about female circumcision. I decided to go a different route to look at circumcision and sexuality. How does female circumcision affect sexual performance, sexual function of the woman and the man? And that's mainly what I delved into in this book. It was to advocate to stop female circumcision and also to look at those that is being done to. How is their sex life?
And we have, go right into this film that we have right here, and do tell us about this, and we're going to go right into it.
The film we're about to see, it's really about Candice, our main character in the story. The film was made to portray her in her lonely moments during the struggle. So we'll see when after viewing it, then we take a closer look at Candice and her struggle. Is it okay to?
Carolyn, they're saying no audio. They can't hear it. Can you roll back and put the audio?
It's no audio?
No, they can't hear it. Could you unmute from your end? They're saying they can't hear the audio.
All right, we'll have to, oh, I have to stop sharing. I have to stop sharing to go back in there. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Let's see, let me go back down.
Thank you, Wendy, for letting me know. We're going to replay this. And also this is recorded at this time. Again, our author we have tonight, or our guest for tonight, is Carolyn Omoifo. And we're talking about, some people may say female genital mutilation is the same thing as circumcision. And we're gonna have a great talk tonight. So while she shares that video, we're talking about this one. Thank you for the hearts. And thank you guys for being there. We're talking about Saving Bekah, and this is talking about
Guys, let me see. Can you hear now?
yes.
God.
Yes. Why are you crying?
Is this email that I received from my husband? He is filing for a divorce. It hurts when I think about it. I just can't get over what he wrote. It's as if he didn't contribute to the problems in the marriage. It was all my fault. He accused me of jumping the ship, that I jumped the ship. How can he accuse me of jumping the ship?
In a way, he is correct.
You agree with him? You agree with him, God? That he's right? I can't believe you agree with him that I jumped the ship. I can't believe it, God. I can't believe it. I can't believe you. You support my husband? Day after day, I prayed to you. I prayed to you. I asked you to stop him. But instead, the abuse got worse. He calls me a worthless piece of junk. Me, a worthless piece of junk. You did nothing to stop him. You did nothing to stop him, God. Why? Why? Each time was like a knife piercing my soul. And now you agree with him? You agree with him that I jumped the ship? Why, God? Why? You let me down. You don't care about me. You don't care about me. Nobody cares about me. I'm all alone. I'm all alone.
What a powerful video. Carolyn. Woo, that was a lot. I know that you talked about what was going on with these, yourself being a one that was, I guess we could say, mutilated and showing in this. Caroline, tell us what is currently going on, what is happening in Nigeria and other parts of the world. Is there still a practice of female genital mutilation?
Yes, the practice is still going on. Perhaps not like it was when I was younger, but it's still going on. United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, it's very much on top of this in terms of trying to eradicate it. Actually, they partner with the government of Nigeria and both federal and state governments to eradicate it. They collaborate with traditional rulers, market women, religious leaders, and students to send people out to the communities to educate people on the adverse effects of female genital mutilation. And that has been going on, and we've seen some progress, not as much as we want to see. Nigeria in 2015 actually enacted a law prohibiting it. But what we've seen that because people look at it as a tradition and a social norm, it's not seen as a crime. So there's more effort needs to be done with law enforcement to let them know that this is a crime punishable by law. And more work needs to be done. And around the world, doing some research, looking at United Nations website, there are about 31 countries from Africa, Middle East, that practice this practice, that do this practice. Again, there's zero tolerance from the United Nations on this, but because it's done within the privacy of homes, and who's going to report it? Is it the person who is cutting, or sometimes the child? So the number, even though they say it's about 200 million worldwide that have undergone this procedure, I think that's really not very accurate when considering that who is making the reports and who is keeping the data.
Yeah.
Yeah. In Nigeria, going through the UNICEF website, I found out that Nigeria has 36 states. Out of that 36 states, there was one state, Ekiti State, in the southwest of Nigeria. In 2013, 2013, they had 72% rate prevalence rate, but it dropped to 58% in 2090. 2090 is like just a few years ago. So, which means it's still going on. And right now, there's a fear that because of the pandemic, frontline workers have not been able to go in the field to educate people, to talk about the awareness. So there's a fear that more people will be subjected to this by the time we hit 2030. So I don't see it ending anytime, soon with the pandemic, and nobody's actually on the front line educating people and moving this, making it a subject matter on anyone's agenda. Not until we get rid of COVID.
Yes. I know I was reading in your book, and we had a talk about it. You've been here before. And as I was reading it, all of the myths that they had as to reason why they're doing these female circumcision. I read where they said they were promiscuity, to keep them for marriage, to keep them with their husbands so they won't go out. Even as they thought that it was something that was a coming of womanhood, things like that. And you told us last time about there are, as young as babies, they're doing this too. And you did explain to us what was done to you. And I told you earlier I was going to ask you this. When you explain that some of them are the different types of way that they did the cuts, and the cuts, some of them were sewn up and some of them, they just took away some of the clitoris. Could you tell us about that again to catch these people up to speed?
Okay. There are several types of female genital mutilation. That's why it's called mutilation. From just cutting the clitoris. Unfortunately, I don't know if anybody takes a ruler to measure how much to cut. Yeah. Every woman is different. Every woman is built differently. So I don't even know what they use to measure how much to take and how much not to take. Well, let's say, there's partial clitoris removal and there's full clitoris removal. And then there is where they take out the labia. Some of them scrape that too. And then some cultures, they not only take out the clitoris and scrape out, they also stitch the labia together stitch it together with needle and thread, leaving only a little part where the urine come out and menses come out. That stitch doesn't come off until she gets married. Then either the man breaks those stitches with his pennies or they use a razor to cut her open, remove the stitches.
Yes. Okay, we've talked about in chapter 25 of your book, they talk about the spiritual aspect of sex. What do you want the readers to know about this?
In chapter 25, I delve into, because we are body and spirit. We're not just body, we're body and spirit. And there has to be something that God created, that there's a reason why God created this part. And female circumcision damages a woman's sexual anatomy, which is directly, and I repeat that, directly involved in her sexual function. The cutting, the cutting, slipping, and stitching, they all are part of what may later be problematic for her. Because you're really cutting somebody's skin, keloid, so many things, bleeding, so many things could happen. And sexually, what could happen, the problems that could happen could be lack of sexual desires. Who wants to be touched there when you've been so badly severed? And lack of lubrication, because that place is, all those things were put for a reason. Now it's been taken off. Lack of lubrication, painful penetration, pain during sex. Then you have little or no orgasm. The question is, are these resultant things that happen to female during circumcision, after circumcision, are this part of God's plan when he created sexual intercourse between man and woman? Yes, God created sexual intercourse. We didn't. There has to be a reason why all those parts are together. So to answer that question, I have to go into, borrow a leaf from what Jesus said when he was asked about the relationship between man and woman. He answered his audience by referring them to the Bible, and he said, how was the relationship in the beginning? So I'm going to take us back to Genesis in the Bible to look at the relationship between man and woman in the beginning. From there, we'll now walk to circumcision. So we all know in Genesis that the man was alone and there was no companion, and God put him to sleep, cut out his side, took out his rib, and created the woman. When he was done, he closed up the man and presented the woman to the man. And he was so joyous. And I would say Adam, the name of the man then, wrote the first love song that we all know. Bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. To me, that was a love song that, wow, look at this beauty that God has created for me. He was excited receiving this person, the only one who could think like him, reason with him, walk with him, the only one that could be the suitable partner. And the joy itself, and I'm sure God himself was happy. The woman is the height of God's creative excellence. Why do I say that? He took his time. He took his time. And I have a picture here of the woman's body, if you can see that. He delicately put her together because of the role she will play in procreation, mind you. The hips, the uterus, and all the way to her vagina. Everything was delicately created by God. For what purpose? She was being created. Even Adam called her Eve because she was going to be the mother of all. The woman's body was delicately prepared by God. And we see that in 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 24. It says there that every part of our body, even the smallest part, is valuable. God did this to make the whole body work together smoothly. One part caring for the other. If one part is hurt, the rest hurt. If one part is happy, the whole body is happy. Do you see why the clitoris and everything is important to the whole reproductive system? Now, if we look at the woman after the sin in the garden, when she gave the apple to Adam. The woman had two curses. God cursed her with two things. One, she would have difficult childbirth. Two, she will have a desire for her husband. Let's focus on that desire for a minute. When we desire something, it's because we find pleasure in it. If we want ice cream, it's because it will make us feel good. If we decide to eat Oreo cookie, it's because it makes us feel good. Beer, wine, whatever it is, it makes us feel good. So if God is not telling Eve she's going to desire, it's safe to conclude that God is expecting that she'll have pleasure with her husband. Female circumcision completely negates that, saying that the woman shouldn't have pleasure. That is not of God. I don't even see the God that I serve making sex painful. Like I said earlier, she could have pain during intercourse, painful penetration, no lubrication, all that for something that God has prepared her for. Female circumcision just breaks that all down. And then I want to explain further that it is more so very problematic for men, because we always concentrate on the woman, but how about the man? How do you think a man will feel if every time he lays with his wife, she's in pain? Either penetration is painful, during intercourse, she's in pain. A loving man will feel it. If we go back to the beginning again, when Adam and Eve sinned, Adam was the one who got the instructions. Of course, Eve must know about it because she had that conversation with the serpent. Adam came and said, we weren't supposed to eat this, but she already did. And he had a choice. Either she allows her to die or he joins her. He loved this woman that was given to him, this beautiful image that was given to him. He wasn't going to let her die alone. So he ate the apple with her. So together they were banished. He was with her. Now let's go forward. The modern man sleeping with this circumcised woman. He loves this woman and she's in pain. How would that make him feel? Would that encourage him to go any further? I don't think so. Man can empathize with her. Should he even want to do this? I don't think so. So you'll find out that FGM does not even favor the man. He might just prefer not to touch her because he can't stand the pain he's seeing in her. Decide, well, that's when you see the man turn to television. I say, I'm just going to watch television, or I'm going to hang out with the boys. He's going to go hang out with his friend, avoiding that marital bed because he can't take the pain that he's seeing from this woman. And of course, the woman doesn't even know what's going on because it's not like when you get married, they sit you down and say, hello, you've been circumcised, expect pain, expect this. Nobody has any conversation with you. You're sent off to your marriage and you're told simply, go, you're married, don't come back home, stay there, make it work, whatever you have to do it. So the woman really doesn't know what's going on with her own body. All she knows is that this thing is painful and she bears it because she has to satisfy her marital sexual obligation. And what may then happen? The man start looking somewhere else. She may not even know what to do. in a place like Nigeria, she might end up going from church to church and telling pastors, my husband doesn't love me. I don't know what I did. I don't know what I cook well. I did this well. My husband does. Then the pastor will start casting out demons and start casting demons upon demons. Whereas the demon was the circumcision that was done to her years ago. But who is going to have this conversation? Can a man even tell that to anyone? Who would he tell? So there's confusion and just sadness in there. The other thing that could happen is what I call passivity. A woman who doesn't feel anything, no orgasm, no lubrication, nothing, she might very well just go lay with him because it's her obligation. How does it feel for a man when you continuously sleep with this woman and no participation? This is the place where the two shall be one and they join together. They're supposed to have fun together, enjoy each other's body. And the man is left alone to do all the work. And she's just passive. That can kill a man's spirit. Because a man wants her to be involved. And if he continues with it, it's almost like he's using her for his pleasure. It is using her because he's having pleasure and she's not. That amounts to selfishness. And selfishness is a spiritual desolation. The spirit will not be happy. There's something missing. There's a big bulk of emotion they're missing. They may not be able to explain it, what's going on. Again, it might lead to spousal abuse because spiritual desolation is dangerous. When the spirit is not happy, it's dangerous. The mind might resort to spousal abuse. Oh, you didn't do this because the soup wasn't well cooked or the potato wasn't well mashed, some crazy reason. But the real problem is the spirit is unhappy. And if that doesn't work, he could turn to infidelity. He goes out to look for somebody who will at least participate in bed, make it fun, and eventually, possibly, break up of a marriage. Now tell me, is this God's plan? No, no. So female circumcision, when you look at it sexually, from that sexual angle, it works against God's purpose for making sexual intercourse. Rather, instead of joining, bringing people together, it pulls them apart. It needs to go. I'm not saying that is the only reason why you have disharmony in relationship. There could be other reasons. But if this alone, it's like 1 or 2% that causing problem in a marriage, that is 1% too big. It needs to go. We need to protect the family. We need to protect our womanhood, what God has put together excellently. When he created this woman, I forget to add that. The woman was created on the 6th day. Because after the creation of woman, God on the 7th day rested. He was done with creation. The woman was the masterpiece. There was no need to create another.
Yes.
God's masterpiece. And someone get in their head that they should butcher her up. Something is very wrong. I don't know who started it. I don't know. I don't even want to know why, but it's really spiritually wrong.
Yes.
It goes against God's design for sexual contact.
Wow. I know in your book, character Candace got her groove back, if you will. She was a circumcised woman. Can Kissing.
Kissing.
I like to kissing.
Kissing.
Pronounce this so different.
Oh, you can just call him Kiss.
Kiss. That him. He really showed her that she could have feeling and get those orgasms and get that female, made her woman. And she didn't understand it. That was her first time ever having an orgasm. And it really blew her away. So she began to feel this is what they were missing, because before that, women were always talking about how sex was not pleasurable, and they are circumcised women, and so they don't know what it should be like. And we talked earlier. Could you tell us about that with them, the women that are circumcised, and still women who have not been circumcised? Let's just use in America, some women both ways, whether they're circumcised or not, depend on that man, they will have those pleasures. So we talked about that earlier. Do tell us about that.
Yeah, like I said earlier, you know, I don't want to put all sexual dysfunction on female circumcision alone, because there are women who are not circumcised. I've had so many conversations. I wrote this book. I've had so many conversations with different people. And there are those who will tell me, I'm not circumcised, but I don't get this orgasm. I don't even know what it is. Can you describe it? I said, okay, we'll have to sit down and we need a lesson on this one. And there are many women who are out there who have no idea what it is. And of course, until you go read the book, but that's why Kessin was created, because I think it takes two to make this work.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be honesty between the man and the woman. And that's what happened in the book in Madrid, that Candace had to tell him, this, what you just did does not work for me like that. It doesn't matter whether you're circumcised or not circumcised. If you know sexually, you're just flat. You don't feel your heart beating, and you don't feel that bubble in your stomach, and you just want to scream involuntarily, scream, making love to a guy, then you need to like, wait a minute, am I really getting what I'm supposed to get out of this? We always think it's only the man who moan and carrying on when they're having orgasm. Women do too. And if you know that you don't feel it, you don't feel your inside going mushy, and want to hold on to him for dear life, then you need to wonder, maybe I need to do a little more. There's no shame in this. It's supposed to be, like I said, in part of God's creation, we're supposed to have pleasure doing this. And if you know you're in that situation, ask questions. Do your research. It's your body. You're entitled to have fun with it. A woman needs to know her own body.
Yes.
Enjoy it. Then talk to your partner. That's the thing that we're so shy about this, circumcised or not circumcised. I talk to my friends, and every time I mention sex, everybody go, oh. I'm like, what is the problem? We talk about eating, we talk about pooing, we talk about everything else. Why is it that when we mention sex, everybody just freaks out? I said, it's a natural process.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't create this. Let's talk. Even among women, it's hard. Oh, they'll say, oh, Caroline, we don't want to hear that one. I'm like, why? Why? Because sex has been so beaten down, negative connotation to sex. It's like somebody said they took a boy to church, and they said, oh, that's Jesus. And the boy said, no, don't say Jesus, don't say Jesus. We're in church, don't say Jesus, that's a bad word. That's because the child in his environment has associated Jesus with something bad.
Mm-hmm.
Now that they're in church, you say Jesus, it's like, oh no, this is that. And this is the house of Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
So we have really put negative connotation to sex that is such a heavy duty subject for us to talk about. It's okay to talk about it, especially if you're not gaining what you're supposed to, especially if sex has become painful and become undesirable. It's okay to talk about it and talk to your partner. There are help available. I'm serious. There are help available. You can actually have pleasure doing this.
Yes. Carolyn, are you anything like your character, Candace, in your story?
Wow. Kindness, wow. For me, I think she's too brazen. If that one night in Madrid with her boss, if I was put in that situation, I'll probably like, okay, I don't know about this. I'll go to the hotel. You know, he gave her invitation and gave her a cab to bring her to the hotel. I'll probably go there with a nice note because I want to keep my job.
Yes.
Nice note and say, thank you, boss. I have an urgent matter. I'm going to Nigeria to bury my mother. I'll see you when I come back to New York. But I do admire Candace. I admired her courage back in the village when she was facing all this opposition, her strength. I actually once had to borrow from her character in my own life. When my book, Saving Bekyaah, won an award in New York, I was so proud of myself. So I called the Star Ledger. See, I needed to publicize it and put it out there. So the lady called me, she interviewed me, and they sent a photographer to my house, and they took a big, nice picture. But when the article came out, Caroline Lugambo, then I say there, circumcised in a village ritual. I'm like, what village ritual? Oh my God. I needed to go to work. Oh my God. I said, I can't go to work. I went back in my room, jumped in my bed and covered myself up, hiding. My daughter called me and said, Mom, did you see your article in the paper? I said, yeah. I said, but I'm not going out. I am not going out. People will look at me. She was in a village ritual. I'm covering up. My daughter said, Mom, you know why you wrote this book. Think of Jesus. Think of all the girls you wrote this for. Don't hide. I'm like, I don't know. Just leave me alone. I was hiding there. Then all of a sudden, I asked myself, if this was Candace, what would she do? Will Candace be hiding right now? I'm like, oh. And I thought of this woman. I'm like, no. So I got out of bed, found my best suit from my closet, put it on, pull my head to the back, slap on my best wig, got dressed, I went to work. And of course, as expected, I saw everybody with the newspaper. Caroline! Some were like, congratulations. Some were like, oh, we're so sorry this happened to you. I was getting all kinds. From the elevator to the 8th floor where my office was at, somebody had that paper in their hand. I'm like, okay, straight face. Caroline, thank you. This happened to you, thank you. I went in my room, sat down. They followed me to my office. Two guys came in, they sat down. I didn't even ask them to sit, they sat down. So, well, we're so sorry this happened to you. One of them said, by the way, do you enjoy sex? So at that point, I'm like, I'm sure you've slept with women who didn't really enjoy sex. Or even those who enjoy, they don't enjoy it all the time. He goes, yeah. I said, yeah. So there are those who are not circumcised and they don't enjoy sex.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, I do enjoy sex. The man just has to know the right buttons to push. So when you sleep with a woman who doesn't enjoy sex, find out what right buttons to push. And you'll find out that everybody can enjoy sex. They left my office. Okay. They both walk out of my office. I'm sitting there. I said, I hope not one person is going to walk through my door. I can say, Caroline, come down, breathe. These two shall pass. These two shall pass. But just to say, I have actually at that point, I had to gain strength from Candice. She's courageous.
What do your daughters say about you being one of the 200 million circumcised woman?
To them, they think it's unnecessary and quite unfortunate. But most importantly, they are glad they weren't born there. Like, thank God I'm American.
Yeah.
Thank God we're born in America, not in Nigeria. Maybe they would have done this to us. I tried to tell them, no, not with what I know now. Nobody would dare touch you. I was like, but what it has done for them, my talking about this and bringing this to light and talking about awareness and all that, they also become advocates for women issues. They've joined several groups like Breast Cancer Awareness Month, where they join other people struggling to raise awareness for breast cancer and raise money for cure for breast cancer. They've joined things like endometriosis group. That's another thing that affects women that one of my daughters is very passionate about, educating people, helping people walk through it. And then they've like fibroids, which is very common among Black women especially. So they've joined those groups, bringing awareness, educating people, and bringing support, both here in America and in Europe. So my girls have really been active in women's issues. And I think, again, that's coming from home where they know we as women need to fight for each other and protect each other and support each other. So I'm very proud of them.
That is great. We have another video, but before you do the video, what would you want those folks out there that are listening, as well as those that are practicing this, as well as women who are hurting? You did talk to us last time that you said there's a community of women, the way they were, in my words, butchered. You have some women that the way they were cut, they smell sometimes because of urine and all that. What do you say to those community and to us?
Like, it is difficult when you're in that situation because it can be confusing sometimes. Even for me, who hasn't been cut in that way in terms of the stitching and all that, I remember I've had to go through my own experience about in relationship where he became so distant from me. I couldn't understand why. I was beautiful, I was that. I'm like, why? I could see love in his eyes, but when it came to go in the bedroom, he'll like take his key and walk out. I went from confusion to anger of being rejected. So I can imagine these women who you go into a relationship and now you're facing rejection. The man doesn't want you. And you don't even know why. That can be so heartbreaking. It can push you into depression. And sometimes you don't even have the right words to express yourself to anyone. So you suffer in silence. In my case, because I felt he wouldn't touch me, I felt rejected. I was so angry at him that one day as he was leaving, pick his keys to leave, I slammed the garage door so hard behind him that if he hadn't moved fast enough, I would have taken down one of his legs. But then I began to think, what is the cause of all this? Ignorance, it's so killing. I didn't know. Then I began, because I knew he was a good man. He was a provider. He had love for me because I could see it in his eyes, but he wouldn't tell me what the problem was. So I searched deep and deep and deep until I came up to say, wow, this must be it. Because he must have experienced my discomfort during sex because I was excessively dry. But he couldn't tell me. And I'm sure he didn't want to disappoint me and he didn't know how to please me. So it was easier for him to just walk away or have minimal contact. But once I discovered what the problem was, I was able to find solution and get us back on track. So for the women who are going through this, all I'm saying is there's hope. You can, again, start a conversation. Something was done to you. It's not your fault. This is what it is. You can talk about it, find help, talk to those who are willing to offer support, and hopefully the man too will have an open mind to have this conversation. Again, it's not a blame game. It's something that has happened, but it is not the end of a good relationship and sexual pleasure. God has ensured that. Like I said in my last interview, there's so much in us that God has given us that no man can take that away from us. So there's hope. There's hope. And the other thing I want to say, going back to the first video we saw, that this struggle to end this female circumcision can be a lonely struggle. In Candice's situation, the villagers were against her. The father was against her. They actually wanted to get rid of her, kill her. Her husband, who had left her in the story, had left her in America to go to Nigeria and married another woman. He came into the picture and just tore her into pieces, calling her all kinds of names, telling her to get out of town, this and that and that. She became so lonely. For those who do this work, it can be lonely. It would demand a sacrifice. There are many people who have written books. There are many people who have, there's a lady in Tanzania, Ruby Samueli, her name. She opened 2 safe houses for girls who run away from home instead of being circumcised. There's a lot we can do, but we're working in silos. Because we're working in silos, it looks like we're not progressing fast enough. Come on, there are 200 million women worldwide. If 5 million women get together, and husbands or significant others of those 5 million women get together with them, and friends of those 5 million women get together, and acquaintances and those well-wishers get together, and we say, this must end. We don't have to work in silos. There's power in numbers. We work together, go to every nook and corner, go to every village, bringing awareness and educating people, both men and women, because this is not a female issue alone, like I just said earlier. This could be a marriage breaker. Let's go in there in numbers and bring awareness to everyone. This circumcision thing we're talking about will be completely erased within a few years if we all get together.
That is a great great thing to do. And thank you for sharing your story. And I'm going to let you go ahead and do the last video. And you guys that are out there, thank you for watching. Carolyn, thank you for telling your story. Again, we must fight for it. And I guess I can say thank you for surviving, really, if not just only physically, but mentally going through this. Thank you so much for sharing your story. She's going to show a video in our closing. Wendy said, thank you, Caroline, and you're getting some hearts.
Thank you. Let's walk through this again.
We're going to do our ending video.
Let me find that. There we go. Oh,
I'm part of the Watchung Heights Girls Club,
I need
a club that was started a few years ago for girls in high school and middle school to discuss issues. And
Can you
for
hear
the event,
volume?
the Female Circumcision Awareness Day, we came back, and our theme was no more cuts against female circumcision.
Yes, I can.
This one is talking about FGM Awareness Day, and it has a few facts about FGM. It says about 130 to 140 million women and girls have been subjected to FGM. This is another poster that just says, would you like to be mutilated? It's just explaining what happens during female circumcision.
Reach out and stop FGM. You can make a difference. Embrace her wholeness. Dump the razor. No more cuts. Saving Bekya. 11-year-old Budur Ahmed Shakur died while undergoing female genital mutilation on June 2007 in Egypt. Stop genital mutilation. Stop it. Why destroy the beauty of women? No more FGM. No more cuts. Girls are precious. Girls are the happy memories of the past, the joyful moments of the present, and the hope and promise of the future. No more cuts. Stop the cuts. Girls are precious. No more cuts.
At all costs, we will protect our womanhood until no girl is left behind.
Thank you, Carolyn. Can you tell us your website, if you have a website for this, or?
Right now, I don't have a website. I just have that email address, which is IT Hope Rising Foundation. I'm working on getting my 501c. But it is registered in Nigeria, the foundation. My sister and I have the foundation. We've actually been working with women and girls in Nigeria. And I will make it, make it a 501c register here in America. So I'm working on that now. But in Nigeria, it's registered. We're actually planning to build a shelter for women.
You could tell us more. You could drop the screen and tell us a little more what you plan to do, and then we will end it.
I'm trying to, okay, I don't want to cut us off. I'm trying to see if I can. Okay, let me stop sharing. Okay, there we go.
Yes, yes. Tell us a little bit more what you plan to do, and we will end it.
Yeah, Itohan Hope Rising Foundation, was created to actually address, but my sister, who I told you, is also, she's written several books on female circumcision. So we got together, started this foundation. For the past few years, we've been in Nigeria, in the village, helping women, especially in domestic violence situations, helping them find jobs, putting them in skills acquisition workshops, like if they want sewing or hairdressing, just to keep them engaged with something. But we're hoping that we already have the land. We're hoping to build a house, a safe house for women. And female circumcision is going to be one of the things we're going to put on our top list, especially for those who want to run it, who looking for a safe place to be, like the woman in Tanzania. I really admire her and what she has done. So that, and also like a domestic violence safety for safe place for women. If only just for a minute, to just come in and put your burden down. This is a safe place to go. We really want to help women. I've been in conferences. In 2019, I was in Taiwan to give a conference. I talked on domestic violence in Nigeria. And I'm hoping the next time they have a women's conference, circumcision is going to be top on the list. And I'm also going to be advocating for most international conferences, or I may just start one myself and have all of us get together, preach, do what you preach, if I'm preaching it. So I might just start one. I have all these 5 million women get together with their friends and their spouses and whoever. Let's just get together and put an end to this in the next few years. Like United Nations is saying 2030 is that the sustainable project that they're going to end female circumcision. I'm saying 2030 is too far.
Yes.
We need to do it now, especially coming out of a pandemic. We need to do it now. So I might be in the front line, just marching in front and dragging up anybody with me. We need to stop this. But I know women are very compassionate about each other's cause, and many of us will stand up. So that's what I'm hoping to do.
Thank you so much, Carolina. Thank you. Thank you for being here tonight, and thank you for sharing.
Thank you for bringing me back to have this conversation. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. You guys can swipe and share, help this this video here go far. Please share it and swipe it to everyone you know, and let's just help it go viral. And for you and your sisters as well. Thank you guys so much. Carolyn, thank you for coming back. Thank you for sharing your story. Again, that's Saving Bekah. And this book talks about female genital mutilation. Some says female circumcision, still the same lines, on the same lines. Good night. Thank you so much. It has been a pleasure.
Good night, and thank you all for attending.
You
Bye-bye.
are so welcome. Bye-bye. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for watching our show tonight. Please share, share, share. We want this to go viral. Again, our topic tonight was about female genital mutilation. Again, Carolyn was one of 200 out of 200 million. She was one that was in that, and that was mutilated. So please share. Thank you again for being here tonight. And we will have our October shows coming up. Stay tuned for our October shows. I see you there, Joshua. Thank you for being here. Wendy, thank you for hanging on. And you guys, thank you. And we will talk about our book that's coming up at the end of this month, A Lineage of Grace, that is with Francine Rivers. And that is 5, we call it 5 stories in one 5 women of the Bible: Bathsheba, Tamar, Rahab, and Mary. And you have those women. I may have missed one, but thank you guys so much for tonight. Again, I'm Ellen Suddeth of ESP Presents and ESP Book Chats, where we bring page turners your way. Thank you guys. Good night. Signing off.